Hey, DBcember fans! It's time for the honorable mentions. And
DBcember fans, they make those?
hey, look, somebody's got to be watching these. We're still getting views, so I'm going to assume that they're DBcember fans. Specifically, you know what? I'm going to assume that everybody listening to this has never even seen Dragon Ball Z Abridged. Literally, you're only here for DBcember. That's the only thing you tune in for.
Nah, it's Mark. He brought them all.
That's definitely not true.
Totally not Mark.
Totally not true.
Oh, dear God. And that's me, guys. I'll see you.
All right. Good having you.
Sorry. We know that joke. That joke must be so tired for you.
Literally every video.
I know.
At least people can pronounce your screen name on the first try.
That's true.
That's yeah. Actually, I still get Kaiser Nico. So
how?
Actually, usually
I don't think I've heard that one.
I've heard Kaiser Nico. Kaiser Nico is pretty common.
Yeah, that one I can understand. I guess in a way.
I don't know.
Mine just gets butchered, but my name's made up, so.
So for these honorable mentions, since there's not a whole ton, I think there's enough with GT, some of the filler from Z, and some of the filler from Super, that we could probably only talk about one or two. What I'd like to do is I'd like to go down what's available, what's left, and then see if it's an honorable mention or a dishonorable mention. Yeah, we're going that way now.
Okay.
So
I feel like
I
that's
want to
chosen
throw this out
violence
there.
today.
Do we want to bury the lead and kind of start with GT here? Because
no. Let's go over the Z filler. Let's go chronologically because that'll be easier for people to follow. I think.
Sure. Okay. Did we skip anything in Dragon Ball proper?
Oh man, it's been a long time since I've actually rewatched all of the stuff in Dragon Ball. I did some rewatches of the actual proper arcs for DBcember. I could not, for the life of me, tell you about a lot of the filler arcs in, or filler episodes in the original Dragon Ball, mostly because there aren't a whole lot of arcs, filler arcs in original Dragon Ball.
Yeah,
but most of them I can't really think of a lot that comes to mind.
If you guys can't think of anything, that I'm definitely have no chance because when I grew up, where I grew up, we didn't get original Dragon Ball until after Dragon Ball Z, and no one watched it. So I actually still haven't seen the original Dragon Ball. I've only read it. So
you're not that far off from me because Z definitely aired before Dragon Ball down here.
You know, yeah, that's true. In fact, I've made mention many times that people who have seen Z and call themselves Dragon Ball fans, which you're not Dragon Ball fans, should really check out original Dragon Ball because to me, and I've gotten flack from this, I've gotten acid over this, I legitimately think original Dragon Ball is better than Z.
I don't necessarily disagree with that, although it definitely comes down to preference.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's ultimately I really so there aren't a lot of actual filler arcs. There are a couple filler episodes. There's actually some good filler in the original Dragon Ball, if I'm gonna be honest. Due to the nature of the original that run of Dragon Ball, it kind of lent itself really well to having some fluff. There's some stuff in there that actually expands on the world a bit that's pretty enjoyable. I actually really liked it. So, but let's
You're
start.
allowed to have that opinion.
So we'll start with Z, and we'll start with everyone's the most famous / infamous of all of the filler anything from Dragon Ball.
Otherworld
Garlic Jr.
Oh.
You know, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to throw my hat in the ring here. This might be a controversial take. I haven't seen this arc in what feels like 10 to 15 years. But you know what? I've got good memories of it. And I remember zombies, zombie vampire people, and I remember Gohan doing some cool stuff with Krillin and Piccolo. And you know what? Thumbs up from me.
I said this before, but Garlic Jr. is actually the first full arc I saw of the show. Because one of the first episodes I saw was Super Saiyan. So
oh wow,
it would kind of go for that Garlic Jr. is the first full arc I watched. And by the way, as an introduction to the show, very confusing first watch.
Considering that none of the same mechanics show up later.
Yeah, I have to already accept that Kami and Piccolo are the same people, and if one of them dies, the other one dies. So I'm like, oh, okay, how's this work?
Yeah,
Like
actually,
my little
wasn't-
12-year-old brain trying to wrap itself around this.
Wasn't the first Dragon Ball thing ever that you saw?
Tree of Might, the actual most difficult thing to process. Okay, so the good guy and the bad guy look exactly the same, and the kid is a monkey. Now he's naked, and the green guy is there, and now the guy's fighting himself. And okay.
Yeah. So Garlic Jr. That's one that I've had to return to like a couple of times over the years, especially like I remembered watching it on VHS back when Funimation was like doing their initial release of quote unquote season 3. Although I think at this point it would have been season 4, and I liked it as a kid. I actually did, mostly because when you're a kid, you don't notice a lot of the cracks, and it's while it is full of crack, it's funny and it has some cool action sequences, and the minions look interesting, and a battle on the Lookout is actually really cool because you don't get a battle on the Lookout in the original canon until Boo. So it was such a great place to have that fight, and with an interesting character, with an interesting backstory. So as a kid, I was actually really into it. Now, as an adult, I could look at it and be like, oh, there's a lot of problems here. But
we literally made a joke Kai episode out of that saga that we skipped in Abridged, so.
Yeah. I'm sure that if we had tackled that saga, we probably, I do genuinely think we could have had a good time with it. We could have made a lot of different jokes. I think we would have probably, like, I don't know if we would have done it as several episodes.
You mean tackle it, like, seriously and not the way we did?
Oh, yeah, like an actual, like, abridging of the arc instead of a shit post.
That was, to be honest, right? Like, you know, I'm the person from the outside here, okay, and I'm looking through the looking glass. My feedback, honest to God, still one of my favorite episodes that you made. It's like,
thank you.
It completely
we had a lot of fun with that one.
No joke. So like, I had started watching what you guys were doing around that time, and I was like, okay, what's next? Oh my God, yes, the androids and Cell and Trunks and stuff. And then my mind was like, oh wait, no, I have to do the Garlic Jr. Oh God. And then when I watched the episode that you guys released, I was like, oh, this was so much better than what I anticipated. This was way better. Just a weird subplot with Marin and Krillin and stuff.
That's fascinating.
We wanted to do what we did with like the space orphans and all, like the like space filler pre-Namek, and just like bookend it with Garlic Jr. It's like, all right, let's just get rid of them. Let's just finish this quick.
That's cool. That's a good idea.
But what was I thinking? Yeah, so I guess this is kind of an honorable mention at this point, because okay, we all admit it's not good, like, if you actually take a critical look at it, but damn it, we all have fond memories of it.
Yeah, but I mean, like, as well, like, you got to take into consideration that, like, the end of this list of the top 12, like, in spots 12, 11, and 10, these are all, like, really heavily flawed arcs in and of themselves. So, of course, anything that would occupy spots 13 and below will be worse. But I think there's a lot of upsides to, like, the Garlic Jr. stuff, particularly when you compare them to a lot of the other stuff that we're about to talk about.
Plus, it's the only time you actually get a tie-in to a movie in the show.
Very true.
Yeah, huh? And that's a little sad, honestly. I would have, if we're gonna get filler, it would have actually been neat. Like, well, then again, we're gonna talk about superhero in a minute, so maybe not. But I don't know. I think it would be kind of interesting to have these movie villains have a little more time to breathe. We even talked about that a little bit with Janemba, how, wow, what if Janemba had gotten an arc proper? Could that have been really cool? I think it would have been like Super 17 with everyone coming back from the dead, but with a better villain. Wow, I just called fucking Janemba a better villain than Super 17, and I'll stand by that. I'll die.
Kieran isn't here, don't worry. He can't hurt you. But you can hurt him, which you did, and you should feel bad.
Look, I have empathy for GT fans, but I have no regrets.
You have empathy, but no sympathy.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I don't know. Like the whole, like I'm pretty ambivalent towards the whole, or indifferent, I should say, towards the whole movie villain stuff. I did really like Janemba though. I thought he was like a really, I thought it, whatever it is, but was a really cool idea. At least from like a fighting standpoint, lots of cool moves.
Yeah. But then, so the other filler from Z, if I'm correct, I'm 99% sure that I'm correct, that could qualify as an arc would be the Otherworld Tournament.
Fake Namek, sir.
Oh, you know what? You're not wrong. Thank
It's
you.
not really an arc. You could maybe count all of that space filler as an arc, but
Well, it is though. Like
The journey, I suppose.
If I remember,
the journey to
if I
Namek.
remember correctly, it's several, like maybe 4 episodes.
Are we gonna count like Gohan's training during the Saiyan saga?
No,
I think
because
that's that's part of the Saiyan saga.
Sure.
Kind of how yeah.
Yeah, although if we're gonna mention that stuff, half of that stuff is actually really fun and neat, and the other stuff is like just kind of padding.
Yeah. Fair.
I think the scene where he finds all those orphans is fun and cute, but it is also meaningless.
Yeah.
I do actually kind of like the robot episode as like this like self-contained little like, it's really interesting to me. And then there's the one where he finds the dinosaur, and I'm actually kind of happy that the show decided, no, we're actually going to spend time on Gohan. I think that was actually very good for his character. Manga fans, they didn't get that.
This is very true.
In fact, I think that the anime goes a long way in making Gohan more of a character.
I think we talk about that a bit in the Cell Saga discussion.
Yeah, I feel bad about that because genuinely the moment where he goes Super Saiyan 2 is so good. But if you're a manga fan, I just don't know, man. That build-up must have been a little lackluster, right?
Yeah, maybe. It's kind of difficult for me to kind of chime in because I watched the anime first, so like I suppose I could probably ask a friend of mine, my friend Diame. She read the manga when it came out, so I could probably ask her.
And I'm a bad fan. I've only seen the anime.
Yeah, I've read a bunch of the manga, but I've also I've read bits of it throughout. I've never read it all the way through. Shout out to someone that I've been shouting out quite a bit, Mr. Fusion. They actually do a full fucking review of the manga.
Oh, no joking. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, getting to experience the manga from their perspective has always been really interesting. I should really read it though. I really should. It's a very different experience.
Yeah,
from
it
the
is very
anime.
different. I read it all recently, and it's just it's fantastic. But I always compare Dragon Ball. Reading the Dragon Ball manga is like eating popcorn. You don't know where it's gone. You can almost do it like unconsciously, and then all of a sudden, poof, 40 chapters are gone. It's really easy to read.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay, so the fake Namek stuff is cute and fun.
But no, would never make the list in any conceivable reality.
Yeah, mostly because it's just a time waster. That's
Yeah.
all it is. It's
yeah,
literally there to waste time.
We can move on to the Otherworld Tournament, which does hold a very fond place in my heart. Like seeing Goku go Kaio, like Super Saiyan Kaioken, kind of a precursor to what we eventually see in Super. Really, like that was a pretty hype moment. All right.
Yeah.
I would say the Anayuichi Budokai or the Otherworld Tournament is absolutely 100% a fantastic arc to watch when you're a kid, and kind of like a weird detour as an adult. There's nothing worse than knowing that something is essentially not going to have any impact on the story later on.
I think
But you didn't know that as a kid.
No, you had no idea.
You didn't have concept of filler.
The thing is, like, when I saw it as a kid, I was always of the frame of mind, like, I was always that fan that, like, loved tournament arcs anyway, because there's sort of this built-in sort of framework and structure that you know where it's going, and so you can kind of focus in on, like, the different, or, I suppose, the nitty-gritty and the detail of the different characters and stories at play. But, how long was that arc? I think it was, like, was it 4 episodes or 3 episodes or something?
The Otherworld Tournament?
Yeah.
Otherworld Tournament was pretty long.
It wasn't super long as far as I remember.
Like it's not, yeah, it's not like Naruto filler long, but it was pretty long.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh.
I remember I remember really liking
Mark,
characters like Pecan and stuff, but I thought that was fun. In terms of the actual story, though, I'm not 100% sure on what happened per se.
Quick aside. Have people told you to watch any of the filler from Naruto?
No one. Literally no one.
Yeah.
The amount of like filler episodes of Naruto that are even worth watching, you could probably count on an amputee's hand.
Jeez. Okay.
Yeah. No. I hear that there's good Naruto filler. I've heard this. But I've also heard other things on Twitter.com that I don't pay attention to.
This is true. But like my own experience with like filler with stuff that I've kind of like newly started, reading through. So like when I was going through One Piece last year, there was a decent amount of people that were clamoring and asking me to cover a particular filler arc, and I was like, "What? Really? Okay, I'll do it." And like to your point, Scott, like I think there's something to be said when you're someone that's older going into filler arc because it's quote unquote filler, and so therefore that any of the stakes that sort of manifest, they don't have any consequence, or at least they can't, because everything has to revert back to zero at the end of it anyway. But yeah, I mean, like I think in terms of like filler arcs from like my perspective now as like a grown ass man, I think a good filler arc is one that kind of like adds some like nice, interesting characterization with some fun moments more than anything else. I can't expect much else from it, really.
Yeah.
But this was some pretty charming filler. You got introduced to some pretty fun characters. You got to see Goku fight in some pretty interesting scenarios, like that dude that turned the ring into water.
Yeah, that was cool. I remember that.
I will say Gohan as a new introduced character, he has a neat design.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't care about him.
But we get to meet all the other Kais.
He has zero personality.
I don't even remember his personality, so that makes sense.
What was that?
I don't even remember his personality, so that makes sense.
Oh yeah,
well, he was stoic.
Yeah, that's his whole thing. He's stoic, which is kind of neat as a contrast to Goku, but he just feels like Piccolo without any of his without any emotion.
Sure. No, I can see that. I remember there was what was it, the Grand Supreme Kai, or like basically the Kai of the Kais.
Yeah, Wolfman Jack Kai.
Yeah, Grand Kai, who is technically canon.
Really?
Yeah, apparently. Not only I don't know. Okay, I might have this one wrong, but I do know that in the hierarchy of the Kai that Toriyama makes later, the Grand Kai is there.
Oh, weird. That's wild. Okay, I learned something today.
Yeah. Now I am 99% sure that I am wrong because I said it without double checking. So in the comments, if I'm wrong, don't tell me. I don't care.
I care. Absolutely tell him he's wrong.
Spoken like a true Dragon Ball fan.
But yeah, I don't really care much about the Otherworld Tournament at this point. Like, when I was watching it as a kid, I thought it was sort of neat. Primarily just because I wanted to see Goku versus a bunch of wild and crazy different characters. Yeah. But even as a kid, I still felt like, okay, is this going anywhere? Is there going to be any payoff from this?
Well,
and there really wasn't.
Do you know what it was for me as a kid, actually, now that I think about it? Was after the Cell arc, and Goku died, I was like, in my mind, I was like, because I was like the biggest Goku fan. I really can't describe to you, because like Gohan for me was secondary because that was like my brother's favorite character. Goku was my favorite character, and for like the longest time throughout Z, it was always like a weird waiting game with Goku. Like, he's in the pod, he's got to be revived and all that kind of stuff. It was always waiting to see more of Goku, and when he died, I was like, oh god, no, I'm gonna have to wait more time now until I see him again. And so when I went to the Otherworld Tournament, it was like, oh yes, I get to watch Goku beat up some guys. So to your point again, yes, seeing Goku beat up some interesting guys is fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all right. It's sort of there for me. I feel like there's nothing quite as
Look, if this were a list of ranking filler arcs, I think this would be at the top for me. So
okay, well, in terms of is this an honorable or dishonorable mention?
Honorable.
I'd say this is honorable.
Yeah, very honorable.
All
There's
right,
much honor in this mention.
Now to make everyone angry, GT list.
Oh, here
Let's
we
talk
go.
about GT.
Buckle in, boys.
Step into the Grand Tour.
Oh god, we
Grand
never got
Tour,
that over
Grand
here.
Tour.
We got a very different song.
Oh yeah, you got a
deprived.
bastardization of Don Don.
Yeah, we do. It's a
Like
weird.
it's not even. And by the way, when I say
it's not even
bastardization
Dan
of Don
Dan.
Don,
It's not even really Dan Dan. It's like the melody of that song with completely different words. It's like in another time and place, scattered off. It's so bad.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's again, people wondering if I'm talking about the English version of Don Don that we got over here. No, it is not that. It's not that.
Yeah, if anyone wants to look it up, I think it's called like the Blue Ocean dub or whatever, and the opening to that.
Blue Water.
Like, was it the Blue? Yes, Blue Water. That's it. 100%.
Yeah, because they were a subsidiary of Ocean, basically like a sister company out in Toronto, I think it was.
Yeah, I know you're right about that. Yeah,
it's not good.
Yeah, we got the Ocean dub as well, primarily first. So.
Wait, that means? Oh my God, that means you got that Vegeta who sounds like this.
Oh yeah, no, we got Brian Drummond.
Wait, hold on. That wasn't Brian Drummond
in the Ocean dub.
Yep. That wasn't. Brian Drummond was in, I think, one of the versions of Z that you got. I know the UK got both versions at some point, but in GT, that's not Drummond.
I'm trying to think. We got the Vegeta. I remember watching like the very first episode of Dragon Ball that I ever saw was midways through the Saiyan arc where Goku was fighting Vegeta, and it was the Vegeta that sounded like this, and I was like,
yeah, that's Brian.
That's Drummond.
Yeah, I got that. That's one that I got.
But yeah, in GT, I mean,
he's good.
Oh, in GT, I have no idea. Jesus Christ. Okay. My history with GT is wrought with turmoil. So I mentioned
so
before.
So was mine, but
huh?
So was mine. I mean, you're not alone.
Okay. So when Dragon Ball Z ended, I hated the ending. Not because it's like it didn't fit or whatever, but it's just like I didn't want my favorite story to end in such an unsatisfying way to me. And so when GT was continuing, I was like, oh, okay. Rubbing my hands together, I was like, okay, what does GT have for me? Now, you guys in America, I'm pretty sure I think GT started for you with the baby stuff, right?
I can't remember. I remember watching the
what happened?
Black Star Dragon Ball thing.
What happened out here was we got the initial release on DVD started at Baby with a recap episode, and a recap episode made by Funimation, where they talked about everything that had happened in the previous 16 episodes that had gotten cut because they were really worried about how it performed in Japan.
I'm not even kidding. That is the objective best way to watch that first arc.
Damn, son. I would like to say that the opinions of Totally Not Mark do not represent those of the rest of the company.
And I will go one step further. When I was a kid and I was watching that absolute train wreck of an arc, it literally was the arc that made me stop watching Dragon Ball for at least 10 years. It was, if there's any, I think out of any arc that we will discuss today, this is the arc that is a definitive 0 out of 10 for me. I have no time for it. Okay, not a 0 out of 10. It's a 2 out of 10 because like the first episode or 2 are good, but like everything else is just awful. I hated it.
I have seen all of GT once. One time I watched through all of it.
That's too much.
And I never wanted to return to it. Literally, I never wanted to go back because I was so unbelievably bored. And no time was I more bored than in Super 17. I actually kind of liked these initial episodes.
Here's the thing. I actually kind of liked Super 17 because I think it... I don't know. I like the concept of like, you know, the dead coming back, portal to hell. I like the resolution it gave Piccolo in some ways. As a kid, I did.
You're actually not wrong. Like honestly, I'm kidding. By the way, I was just looking for an arc that I like the least out of GT. I do actually like Super 17 kind of the least, mostly just because it gets really, really stupid.
Yeah, it's really stupid.
Incredibly stupid.
Oh, it's really, really stupid.
But I will say these opening episodes are kind of a drag. They're just, there's not a lot to them. None of their stories are all that clever. You get to like go to different places all over the universe, which is sort of neat at first until you realize that they're not telling much of an overarching story, and all these episodic like one-off, they're just not fun. They're not cool. They're just
the arc made me cry when I was a child. I will not forgive it for that. And it may be residual trauma talking, but it's still there. And I cannot in good conscience say, yes, that one is an honorable mention.
You were saying that this show that was literally made for fans of Dragon Ball and kids, you hated as a Dragon Ball fan and as a kid. That means something.
I think on a cellular level. We
talked about the fact that at least with like fucking Garlic Jr. and Otherworld Tournament when we were kids, we could enjoy. But this, we were put off. We were bored. We were not enjoying ourselves. Yeah. And I'm sure there are people out there who are going to be like, oh, you just didn't appreciate it. It's actually quite charming and calls back to the original Dragon Ball. And it's like, yeah, sure. It calls back to the original Dragon Ball, but it's not nearly as good.
Yeah, it's not nearly as good.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's not nearly as good. But like, I think also that argument, for me at least, feels kind of strange because this is a story that's supposed to be taken up right after the end of Z. And it makes sense because chronologically that's the way it works. And when it was airing where I was, it came on right after Z finished. And so, okay, how does this kind of like for Z, sorry, for the original run of Dragon Ball, it went from happy-go-lucky, friendly, quirky adventures and then slowly progressed gradually into more deeper and darker subject matter until the subject really completely changed. But it was a natural progression over many, many years. This goes from Boo to something completely different. So not only is there not a seamless transition, but I actually got whiplash when I was watching it. I think
the worst thing from GT to me is that I honestly very often forget that Oob is even a thing.
Oh yeah,
because they do nothing with him after setting him up at the end of Z to be like, oh, he's this guy.
Why? Yeah, why would you end on Oob, then start the series by saying, by the way, he's not going to play any part in the proceedings? What the fuck?
And Goku's a kid. Isn't that fun? Isn't that fun?
And Goku's a kid again because we wanted to do some marketing bullshit. Also, remember the Trunkses you liked? Yeah, he isn't like either of them and is incredibly boring. But we do have a female character and she's really cool. Oh, wait, nope, she's actually super whiny and she's going to be a damsel in distress for the entire fucking show.
That is such a weird choice too, by the way, because like in the first episode, like the first episode of GT I actually like, and it's like you get introduced to Pan and like it very clearly, at least to me, seems like they're setting up some kind of chip on her shoulder where she feels like she constantly needs to prove herself to her family. And I'm like, oh, that'd be great. Now we're about to embark on a story with this brand new character that I haven't really gotten a chance to get to know yet. And it's gonna be the story about how she grows as a human being to show herself that she can be, hang with the adults. And like, no. In fact, it just reinforces what everyone around her had already been saying, that she will get in the way.
You fool.
Yeah, like I loved the idea of a Son family character with like an attitude problem. Yeah. Like, because Pan being a bit of a, like, having that chip on her shoulder and wanting to prove herself could have been a really cool thing to do. Mm-hmm. Especially if she had proven herself. That would have, it's not the Pan we got in the Boo Saga, the like fun, happy one who wants to go out there. Like, watching Pong want to go out there and fight as a kid, I was like, oh my god, she's like, she has
like her a little Goku.
Yeah, she has her grandfather's spirit. I was like, yeah, that's great. But no, we don't get that. I would have loved something like that.
It promises so much.
No, our version of Kid Goku is literally, let's just take adult Goku and make him small again. God fucking damn it.
It promises so much.
I know that there are a lot of GT fans out there who disagree with us, and I'm sorry, I just don't like this.
You could have said, I know there are GT fans out there. Of course they disagree with us.
Yeah.
I am not sorry at all, and I posit that we should banish this, at least the initial first arc, to the Shadow Realm. Personally.
All right. Well, this is a dishonorable mention. Sorry, Black Star Saga.
There you go.
But then we move on to the Baby Saga.
Baby.
Yeah, I mean, Baby was my number 12, I think.
Yes. Oh, by the way, anybody who's curious, the way that these things panned out was we all had our own lists, which in each single entry was prescribed approximately the a point system. Like number 1 was 12, 2 was 11, 3 was 10. Then we compared each other's, we added them up, and at the very end, all 3 of us had different ones at number 1, which meant we had to have a long discussion.
Oh, so boy, was that discussion long, and it was bloody.
Discussion.
Oh yeah. If you're a patron of our Patreon, we actually do have the creation list for that. It's bloody.
Oh, it's brilliant. So good. To be honest, I was so surprised that I was actually one of the people fighting on behalf of GT, because like I'm notoriously not fond of that series.
You and I were both fighting on behalf of GT, just for different arcs.
Yeah. But because I'm an asshole, I won.
Okay, look, here's my argument for the Baby Saga. For those of you that didn't see that particular video that we made, we're hashing things out. I think the Baby Saga should have been what the first arc could have been. So what I mean by that is it uses Oob to a certain extent, infinitely more than the rest of the series does. Goku, while being a child, still gets to fight as a grown-ass man in Super Saiyan 4. That's really cool. Those are my arguments.
Okay, I love the idea of
fair arguments.
I love the idea of a Tuffle coming back
and
trying to get revenge. I love the idea of making the new Tuffle homeworld, all that stuff. That's neat. Really I like that. That's interesting. Yeah. Him taking over people's bodies, also interesting and cool, and
some really cool scenes with that too.
What was that?
There were some really cool scenes with that too. Isn't there one where he takes over Vegeta's body and all that kind of stuff? That was really cool.
Oh yeah.
And fuck, there's a whole thing. Is this the arc where Goten, adult Goten, gets his lady killer personality?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's top tier. I love that.
They actually give Goten a personality.
This is true. This is true.
I'm okay with a Goten he's not a douchebag necessarily about it, but he is hey, I've got girls who are calling me up all the time, and it's actually kind of neat.
Yeah,
the idea that he's really popular with girls and he's trying to lean into it. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, Goten something is nice.
Yeah, it's not like Goku or Gohan, which actually is good. I dig on that.
Yeah. It was a concept that wasn't dragged out. It wasn't gratuitous. It was fun, and I thought it was very funny. So
yeah, I think if we had started out with this arc and not had the Black Star Dragon Ball stuff, that would have probably made this arc more palatable. I will say, and so here is something I have to say about GT as a whole, which really does bring the entire experience down for me, because if this weren't the case, Baby probably would have made the list. The art and animation in GT are mega unappealing to me.
You don't like the art style?
I do not. Oh, I really don't like the art style. The character designs are very reminiscent of late stage Tadayoshi Yamamoto.
Yeah, very chunky.
Very, very chunky, very square. I do not like the designs in terms of sorry, GT Trunks looks terrible to me. I hate that his whole outfit. I absolutely hate it. I hate Goten's outfit. I hate Vegeta's outfit. I hate the.
But what about his mustache?
Oh god, yeah, and the fucking short hair with the mustache. No, I positively cannot stand the character designs in GT. None of the fights are memorable. I'm sorry. I'll fucking say it. There's one fight that I sort of remember, which is Super Saiyan 4 Goku versus Baby. That was actually kind of interesting and neat. That has some neat choreography. But most of them, sorry, I do not remember the fights. They were not interesting or compelling. They just seemed like, oh, here's a fight because we need a fight here. And okay.
Are you talking about the fight between Goku and the giant golden monkey?
Yes.
I hated that fight.
I remember it. I remember
this is true.
it.
This is true. You remember it. That's good.
I remember
I know that it happened.
There you go.
But most of the fights do not have fun choreography, do not have clever set pieces. Like a lot
You
of the
really
animation,
feel
and
like-
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
they're not very well animated.
I think I think to your point again, I think that's a byproduct of like them not having like a Toriyama companion manga to derive actual choreography from, so you get to see what the animation people will come up with without Toriyama at the helm of like, you know, what these characters are doing. So
As it turns out, when you don't have the original storyteller there giving you these framing, like, because here's the thing, sometimes it's really all about framing.
Yeah.
You have these big setups. Like, everyone remembers Goku versus Vegeta specifically for them standing on the rocks against each other and taking those poses. We all remember how that starts.
yeah.
And people even remember like his fight against Frieza, like when he turns Super Saiyan and looks up at Frieza, everyone remembers that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are
Right.
these moments that people remember that draw everything together, that really give you a what is it, like a thing to stabilize the rest of the fight or that conflict. GT feels bereft of those things.
Definitely.
Except I will say the Super Saiyan 4 transformation is fucking stupendous.
Yeah, it's cool.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
All you have to do is
even
go
if-
back and look at like Kieran's discussion of it in our top transformations list, which we gave that entire video to him just because of how much it means to the boy.
Yeah, entry 5 of last year's DBcember is one of the best fucking best entries we've ever made. If DBcember 2022, top 12 DBcember moments.
There you go.
You really gotta jump the shark with that one. So
Oh yeah.
Really jumped the shark because we already claimed this is the last one.
Yep. This will be DBcember GT.
jeez, unlike that. and that
GT
can't go wrong.
December.
GT December.
Oh no.
Just let Kieran do the whole list.
Fuck yeah. I might like poke him and be like, hey, you want to do something dumb?
Oh my god.
When you say it involves
December.
GT, he's like, that's not dumb. It's brilliant.
Top 12 moments.
but-
Dragon Ball GT wasn't the worst thing ever. Here we go.
But yeah, like Baby Saga has a lot of things that I really like conceptually.
Mm-hmm.
And then in practice, I'm like, this is boring and I'm dumb and I don't like it. And I'm sorry, GT fans. I know, I'm trying not to be mean. I'm trying not to be an asshole. This is my perspective on it. But I just couldn't.
I will say that I do like the kind of like the tension mystery aspect towards the start of it as well, with Baby sort of like trying to find his way into like different hosts. I think that's a kind of a cool thing. Like, again, I didn't see this when I was a kid because I had already given up thanks to the bad Star Dragon Balls. I like for the Baby Saga, I watched it for the very first time when I was like 28 or 29, and so when I was watching it, I was like really surprised, particularly because I was coming right after watching that first arc that I hated so much. So it might be a contrast thing, but like I think I'm slightly more positive on it than you are. But I definitely do agree with all the kind of like negatives you've drawn attention to. I'd still be perfectly comfortable putting it into like the honorable mention though.
Yeah, I would actually put it into the honorable mentions myself, because I do, again, there are things that I have fond memories of, and even the things that I don't have fond memories of, I can at least think that was interesting. That was
Yeah.
neat.
Yeah. Which is
So, yeah.
which is more than what you can say for a lot of the stuff that even got into the list sometimes.
I mean, I feel like I have a lot more fond memories of, say, Goku Black or the universe.
Oh yeah, no,
the
1,000,000%.
Universe
But I'm
Arc.
talking like conceptually, conceptually, I think Baby like is a very strong concept, and Goku Black's a very weak concept. But Goku Black was just done really well.
Yeah, and I would. Well, I mean, hey, I even say that the GT stuff were these great concepts done poorly, where Goku Black is bad concepts done well enough.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah. So, anything else we want to say about the Baby Saga?
I think I pretty much covered it.
Pretty much covered that one.
Super duper 17.
I really didn't like this one.
I conflate so many moments of this movie with parts of Janemba just because they do a similar thing.
They do.
You mean this saga?
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, this saga, because in Janemba, they the dead also come back to life.
Yeah.
And they don't do a lot with that.
I do not like the fight with Goku versus Cell and Frieza. I think it's actually got a really well, like, this really fun looking sequence where he uses one of the stalactites as a staff. I remember that very specifically. I also remember Frieza getting cut in half again. But otherwise, I was like, okay, I guess we're gonna just have him versus also really bad looking versions of Frieza and Cell. Like this just goes to show you that the art style was really weird here because they do not look right. Cell looks awful.
Yeah, it's very different, very off model kind of looking. Yeah.
But yeah,
like, I think the part about this art that really kind of bothered me the most when I was watching it was, yeah, it's boring. Yeah, the fights are kind of lame, but like even mechanically, I just wasn't sure what was happening with like people talking to each other and like getting in and out of Otherworld and Piccolo being there and like I don't know, I just found it very strange.
Yeah, it did feel like a lot of the connective tissue was gone, didn't it?
Yeah, it just kind of felt very
I thought my memory was failing me, but you've seen it much more recently. I couldn't help but think to myself, it felt really haphazard.
No, like realistically, right? I think this is the correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is the shortest arc in GT, and by virtue of that, I'm pretty sure they just had like maybe one or two ideas that they wanted to do for this arc, and they're like, okay, we want to get a Super Android 17. What does that mean? I don't know. We'll figure it out later. But we want to get a Super Android 17, and we got to get Goku into this area. Okay, but how are we gonna do that? All right, hear me out. Otherworld. Anything else? No. Give me ideas. Anyone got ideas? Because it really felt like Otherworld was like the catch-all term that they just used to explain away almost anything to create this particular circumstance that made the finale of this arc. I thought.
Remember when people who got to keep their bodies were people who had done good things?
Yeah. And then here's like Dr. Gero just kind of working away on something for like like 10 years?
Yeah,
More?
fucking Dr. Ghetto and Dr. Mew.
Yeah, Dr. Mew. I forgot about, yeah, he was from the baby stuff, right?
I think he was, yeah.
Wasn't that also the name of the character in like? Oh wait, no, that was the evil Moo in Monster Rancher.
Yeah, Moo.
Oh my God, Monster Rancher. No, that's a throwback and a half. Holy shit.
To this day, I don't know why they called him Moo. In Japanese, it literally means nothingness. They could have called him the Void, and that would have been like, holy shit, that sounds terrifying.
Maybe lip flaps didn't line up. I don't know.
Well, but then they could have just called him Void.
I think I had the video game of Monster Rancher. I don't think I ever actually saw the show. I had the video game, I think.
One of my friends did too, and I played it with them.
Let's just talk about Monster Rancher.
It's way better than Super Android 17.
Hey, so let's talk about the fact that there was a fucking wolf named Tiger, okay? What the fuck?
Yeah, well, okay, you know what? That's a bad show. Let's not talk about that.
Let's not go to Camelot. 'Tis a silly place.
Okay, so yeah, Super 17 Saga. So controversial opinion. I agree with Kieran. I like Super 17's design.
Oh no, see, the thing is, like, I can't picture him.
Massive 5-head 17.
I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just the right combination of ridiculous and try hard cool, but it worked for me as a kid. I thought he looked badass.
The guy, like, I think fixes his hair like 30 times during the fight. It's so gratuitous. It's
really dumb. It's like I may like the design, but he has no character besides I'm cool and a bad guy.
Yeah.
He like, again, there's like one good fight in that entire arc. Like one good fight, and I think it's him versus everybody. And then that's kind of it. Krillin dies. And like,
oh yeah,
are we counting that as a
like
positive or a?
I've heard people be like, how can you not include Super 17? Like, Krillin's death was such a big deal, and I'm like, no, it wasn't.
It definitely wasn't.
Please. Like, oh yeah, we get to see 18
get mad. They had done it so many times by then.
Huh?
They had killed Krillin so many times by then.
Yeah, you can only kill a guy so many times.
There was no impact to it for me because 17 just kind of was like, yeah, by the way, I'm a villain, and to prove it, I'm going to kill a character. And it's like, oh, you killed Krillin. Okay, well,
you're an individual now. Who hasn't killed Krillin?
Yeah, I genuinely, I remember going back to that arc and I was like, right, that did happen. Oh my God. Because I Super 17 is one of the ones I watched twice. Like, I think actually I've seen Shadow Dragons twice too. Yeah, I remember watching back through it and was like, oh right, Krillin dies. And I'm like, wait a second. This is supposed to be a huge moment. How did I forget that Krillin died? Oh, right, because it has no emotional effect on me whatsoever. Why would it?
Yeah, there's just not a lot to it, really.
It's like when Piccolo dies in Res F. Oh, okay, cool. They killed Piccolo.
Yeah, it's like they're just going through the motions of what they think should be in a finale to make it good, without actually taking into consideration all the different trappings that make a good arc, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. GT fans, you were warned. You knew what you were coming into. If you're still here, I got nothing.
Like, I really think, right, and this is probably the meanest thing I could say about the Super 17 saga, or whatever you want to call it, right? It very much feels like the most Family Guy version of a Dragon Ball arc, where they just take a bunch of random things and throw it in a bag. And
this reminds me of the time that 17 turned evil.
Exactly. It's just like that. It just seems like an amalgamation of random things together, and just, hey, look, here's an arc.
Oh man. All right. Well, I don't have much more to say about this.
To the Shadow Realm.
And speaking of Shadow, Shadow Dragon Saga.
You know what? I put forward an argument to take this off the list, and I'm going to put forward an argument to put this into an honorable mention, because it's a cool concept and it has the best ending, and I think that's enough to get it onto the honorable mentions.
It's absolutely an honorable mention.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think it's an honorable mention. Oh my God. So half of these got an honorable mention for me. That's the best I got. That's the best I could give you.
There you go. And look, we all sacrifice stuff around the holidays. This is your sacrifice. There you go.
I remember when I was watching through this, I actually watched through this in Japanese first, of all things. And I was fascinated because Omega Shenron is such a cool, interesting looking villain in terms of oh my God, look at him. He's huge and he's got all those spikes and he's like an evil Shenron given form, and
he's like a Digimon.
Then there's that whole fucking universal spirit bomb, and then that ending. Oh my God, when I was a kid, this ending was like, oh my God, what happened with Goku? Oh no, oh my God.
Yeah.
Goku died?
I can't remember when it was that I saw this particular ending. It might have been a friend had shown it to me, because I had long since given up on GT at that point, but someone told me to watch the ending of it, and I'm not sure if I saw it either online, because it could have been around that time when I first got the internet. So but when I did watch that ending for the very first time, I wept, and I wept hard. I was and I wasn't pretty crying. I was ugly crying for probably about 15
One Piece
minutes.
crying.
Oh yeah. So, yeah,
There's
I think
something to be said about an actual definitive ending. I think that's kind of why people like the GT ending more, because the Z ending is more in line, with the spirit of the series, where not of course it's not the end, and Goku goes off on another adventure, and he's looking to pass the torch. But I think the problem with that ending for a lot of people is that Oob, while being the reincarnation of Boo, has no place in the story otherwise. He's not a character we're familiar with. There was no build up to him other than, oh, he's the reincarnation of this other character. But that other character didn't mean much to us.
Yeah, 100%.
So,
I think when I was watching the I went back to watch the ending of GT somewhat recently, and there's this moment where obviously it has the Goku it has the aftermath of the battle, and it has Goku saying goodbye to a bunch of people, but the part that always gets me is the part in the future where finally Goku is commemorated at the tournament grounds as one of the past champions. And I thought that was really cool, but it's when we see Pan as a grandmother, and she's like looking down at her grandchild, and that's the great grandchild of Goku and all that kind of stuff. But she gets like a kind of a fleeting glimpse of Goku in her eye, and she's like, oh, "Grandpa!" And like in that moment, she like reverts back to being a child, and like she sort of like then kind of like pushes past people in the crowd, like, and in my mind I'm like, that's me, that's like me watching. I want to go and see if I can find Goku. And then as soon as she kind of gets past the crowd, he's gone, and then we get that massive and like really emotional montage throughout the entire series.
Yeah, it's I personally prefer the ending of GT over the original manga, and I know that like a lot of people, so I actually was kind of curious and I asked around a bit, and the opinions on the ending of GT versus the original manga are very interesting to compare, because there are people who hate the GT ending for being, you know, more of a cliche ending where it's like, oh, of course we get to see in the future, and of course Goku and Vegeta's kids go up against each other, and it just makes the universe feel smaller because of it. And I'm like, okay, that's actually a fair point. That's fair. I know I use my dumb voice for that, but like, you know what? That's a fair point. To have that whole like flash forward with Goku and Vegeta's kid, yeah, okay, it does make the universe feel smaller. Of course they end up, oh, also people were like kind of mad that it implied that Bulma's family and the Son family fell apart, which, yeah, actually that also sort of sucks. Like the idea that like the Son family and the Bulma family don't keep in contact, yeah, okay, that is weird, and I don't like that either. But I like the implications of the ending. I like the way that it feels so actually final. I like the way that
closure.
It ties things up instead of kind of just leaves us hanging. Also, the fight with Goku and Krillin, the fact that Goku rides off into like it's implied that he sacrificed his life to save everybody. Like, I don't know. I really liked that. I was okay with that. It's not perfect, I'll agree, but I just genuinely liked it better than the manga ending.
I note that we don't really talk much about the dragons themselves.
Well, that's because all but 3 of them suck.
Okay, and so Omega, Ice, and Nova?
Yeah, Omega, Ice, and Ice and Nova might as well be the same fucking character.
I think Omega looks like a Digimon.
Yes.
They all kind of do.
Okay, well, Ice and Nova aren't the same character. One is evil and the other's not. But like they're like designs are so similar that it makes them like okay. I actually have trouble remembering which one's the evil one and which one isn't. Is Ice the good one, or is Nova the good one?
Nova was the good one. He was the one that represented the 4-star ball.
Yeah.
Okay. So Nova was the good one, Ice was the evil one, but they both died. I feel like, does Omega? How does that happen? God, I've seen this one twice and I still can't remember all the details. Fuck.
I've only seen it once, so like, you know, you're one up on me.
Yeah, I mean, nothing before Ice, Nova, and Omega matters. Nothing, and that sucks.
I think
because when you say like, oh yeah, by the way, each like star is going to get a dragon, I'm like, oh, that sounds really cool, and then they're the worst.
Yeah, I think the part that like really kind of cinches it for me in terms of me, like, this was like, so like my biggest gripe with this arc, discussing what arc will make the cut for the top 12 or not, was I really hated how formulaic, like, I think 75% of this arc is. And it's like Goku and Co show up in a town, something weird is happening, Pan does something stupid to get in trouble, Goku saves her, next town. And that was kind of like it for like a while, and I just found it quite tiresome. But like, that doesn't take away from all the upsides too, by the way, because like I feel like I need to fight this guy's corner as well, because I really do think this should be an honorable mention. Like, I really like the Spirit Bomb in this. Like the Spirit Bomb, how it's shown, the music is just so good.
The finale is good. And I'll agree. Hell, the final fight with Omega, as much as I think Omega is 100% a boring boilerplate villain, at least that final fight's good.
Is it the best fight in GT?
maybe it might. I mean, in terms of like overall choreography, there's not a whole ton going for it. Although I will say, man, I will never forget Vegeta getting impaled on his spikes and then electrocuted. Like I was like, oh, that's brutal.
Yeah.
That's brutal as fuck.
Oh, is this the arc that like made like that? Is this the arc that like Vegeta used the machine to get the Super Saiyan 4?
Oh, I think it is.
No, oh yes, it was. Yeah, that's right.
Oh,
the Blutz wave generator.
Which, okay, I'm actually going to defend the Blutz wave generator.
Okay, go for it.
Vegeta needed roids. It's fine.
well,
he needed the juice.
Like that wasn't power. That was the necessary. Like it didn't power him up. Much like Super Saiyan 4 for Goku, he needed the circumstances correct to do it. He didn't have it at that time. Like, I'm okay because it is not a matter of like, oh, he needs to train or have a certain skill or a certain power level to achieve this transformation. He needed a certain set of circumstances. I'm okay with that. Like, oh yeah, I can give you what you need to achieve something that otherwise you should be able to.
Yeah, I can buy that.
So that's fine. The only thing I just didn't like about it is that like it took them so long to make it happen.
Yeah. Very strange.
But yeah, no, it's fine. I don't mind that. I don't mind the Blutz wave generator. That's fine. I also think that Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta looks cooler than Super Saiyan 4 Goku. But that's just me.
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't know why. I think it's the pants.
I don't necessarily disagree. I don't know. Kind of a hard thing to measure.
Yeah.
And then there's Gogeta, which Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is a blast. I just kind of wish that he appeared on a better animation day, and I also wish they'd let him be more involved because he kind of just shows up to be a goofball and then leaves.
Yeah, he doesn't do anything.
It's unfortunate that Fusion never accomplishes anything.
The closest thing that it does is that it's
Sells
the only.
toys.
Yeah, I mean, it's the only way that they were able to get all of the characters out of Boo's body. But even in that regard, the reason that frustrates me is that he didn't need to do that. There was literally no reason for him to get them all out of his body. He could have just killed them and then wished them back with the Dragon Balls. There would have been no issue with that. And it would have caused less death, less destruction, less problems. It's all I can think is this was silly, and you like, and I get it. Like they needed to continue the story somehow, but
yeah, no, I can buy that. The thing is, like, for me, I'm always kind of like, I feel like I'm always the black sheep in any Fusion conversation, just because so many people love Fusion, and I can see the appeal. Don't get me wrong. I mean, like, it's not lost on me, but it's just like it would have made it like it meant a lot more to me when I was younger. But like now when I got older and I kind of like really started to get into like narrative like levels of stuff, like I really like looking at the characters a lot more. I always just find that whenever they fuse, it's sort of like you don't get either character, you just get like an action scene, because realistically Vegeto's personality isn't really explored, and neither is Gogeta's. I mean, like honestly, the very idea that people differentiate between the two is kind of strange to me, because they're both pretty much the same character.
I agree, and that's why, and controversial opinion here, I really like how, say, Steven Universe did Fusion. It literally was inspired by Dragon Ball when they came up with their Fusion idea. And
really?
It's like, oh yeah, these are distinct characters. Like, they're 100% their own person. Where in original Dragon Ball, it's just, they're just
an action scene.
Yeah, they're basically just there to give an action scene. Like, they're cocky.
Yeah, they're cocky.
They're all cocky.
It doesn't help that they're all Saiyans, which already kind of leads itself to that.
Oh,
and almost all of them are half Vegeta, so.
This is very true. It's very true. Yeah.
But to lead it back, like, one of the reasons I really like this arc is conceptually, just the idea that the Dragon Balls became corrupted and are like, you know what? No, you guys have abused this power too much, and now we're gonna fight back. I like that idea. It's just, you're right that it suffers horribly in its execution.
Yeah, no, I think that's, and I think that, like, honestly, if we're going to give the Baby Saga, like you know, the honorable mention treatment, despite it being a good concept done poorly. We have to do it with this one because this one also has like a terrific ending.
Yeah. Oh, as I said before, this is an honorable mention for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know why we're talking about the dishonorable ones. This is supposed to be an honorable mention video.
Yeah, but people, we're talking about it because I know people want our opinions.
Yeah.
That's the reason.
But
the reason we're talking about it is I know people
I notice
want
on this list here you have super filler, and
I have to talk about one of them. I have to.
I got shit to do today, man. I just...
All right, look, let's start plowing through Super. So I think we're all on board with the Shadow Dragon Saga being on the honorable mentions, right?
Yeah.
Sick.
All right, so the Battle of Gods arc. Obviously just a poor retelling of what they had already done in a movie that was significantly better.
I won't say poor. I will definitely say worse. There's some stuff in this arc that I really like. I think though that they desperately wanted to have this big epic battle between Goku and Beerus at the end. And I'm not gonna lie, I think maybe half an episode's worth more of a fight between them would have been good. But they went to the wall to give I think it was 2 full episodes worth more of fighting between them, and one of them is the worst. I'm sorry. The whole of summoning dragons to fight each other thing with their ki, that was dumb as hell.
Oh yeah, and
hitting
just
so hard
fists.
that it's going to destroy the universe.
Yeah,
stupid as hell. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's really to be honest. When it comes to Resurrection F and the Battle of Gods arc, I can think of a really good addition to the Resurrection F material that I really enjoyed. But I'm struggling to think of one for the Battle of Gods arc that justifies its existence, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, that's because the Battle of Gods one also does away with the bingo scene, which, sorry, nope.
And
you lost me.
It also pads the transformation to Super Saiyan God to
Very
unnecessary lengths.
Oh yeah, where it was undersold in the movie, it was oversold in the show. There needed to be a middle ground on this motherfucker.
Yeah, I think I don't need to say this. I think the shortcomings of the Resurrection F arc will speak for themselves. But I can think of very clear instances where I like that idea. I like that inclusion. But when it comes to Battle of Gods, I'm really struggling to think of anything outside of what was just effectively padding. Even the scenes, even the setting of different locations and stuff is less interesting. I don't like being on the yacht. I don't like all the water, you know?
I think being over the water could have actually been really cool, but they don't really do a ton with it. I don't know. I actually liked the set piece well enough, if I'm going to be honest. I liked it being on the boat. I thought it was better than it just being in the city because I don't know. It was different from the things that we'd gotten before. But that being said, I kind of have to agree with you. Look, if this were new material, I'd have actually really liked it, I think, because a lot of this stuff would have been new and interesting, and I like Beerus in this arc. This is my favorite version of Beerus before they make him into a side character that honestly just makes him worse. I like this story. I like these characters, but it being a recap and a worse version of the movie moves it closer to dishonorable for me.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of a reason to give it an honorable mention, to be honest.
I already don't like it. Or the arc that follows.
Yeah,
as I said before...
I skipped all of Super and only started watching when the Universe 6 stuff came in.
Yeah, same.
Oh, you that was the right thing to do. Wait, have you seen the Res F arc?
Me?
No.
Oh, God. Oh, you lucky motherfucker.
I knew it was bad because the movie was bad.
Okay, all right. So look, I'm gonna Battle of Gods retelling arc is in my dishonorable mentions only because it's a worse retelling of a good movie. If the movie didn't exist, this would have been an honorable mention, and it's very possible it would have made my list. Literally.
I would have given Resurrection F a chance, the arc, if they had done anything to really improve upon it.
Let's get into that then.
So please do. You guys discuss this because I actively did not watch it.
The Resurrection F arc is the worst arc in all of Dragon Ball. The worst. There is no arc worse than this.
Hard disagree. First arc of GT is way worse.
nope, this is immensely worse to me.
I'll actually tell you why I actually have a kind of a... I don't have a fondness for the arc at all. But what saves this arc for me is I think it's episode... Is it 18? Episode 18 or 16? It's like one of the... there's one episode where Goku and Vegeta basically go to train on Beerus's world, and that was like one of my favorite episodes in Super. I just love it. I really like that episode.
Here's the thing. There's good stuff in that arc.
Yeah.
The good stuff is actually fine. I liked it. I actually all the training stuff with Goku and Vegeta, like above board. Good stuff. All the stuff with Pan, good stuff. Like I like everything that has nothing to do with Frieza. Frieza,
100%.
on the other hand, everything to do with him.
It's absolutely it. It's awful. I think just in the same vein that I was looking at the Battle of Gods stuff, there wasn't anything the Battle of Gods added to the already pre-existing formula that I liked. Whereas I felt like with the Resurrection F stuff, if we're to use the exact same rubric, which that being, it can change what the movie introduced, so the movie's already there, so we're already not going to like it. But what it added, I thought, elevated it. Apart from the absolutely awful animation.
The Ginyu stuff was like, oh cool, bringing back Ginyu, I'm okay with that, especially considering like we established that the frog was still alive. Like, what an interesting idea. And doing it with Tagoma, like a character who literally just died in the movie before they even got to Earth. This is really interesting. But the way they tell it sucks. And I'm sorry, I know a lot of people, there's an argument on art and animation and the quality of such and whether or not it should really degrade from a story. But this is the worst looking, like this actually has the worst animation in all of Dragon Ball.
Oh,
like,
100%.
The worst.
Episode 24 or 26? I can't remember.
I think it's 24 actually.
Huh?
I think it's episode 24.
Yeah, it's awful. It's so bad.
And it never gets good. Like,
no.
there are a couple of good shots. Like a handful of good shots of like, oh wow, that looked really cool.
Yeah, you can really tell when a different animator was doing something.
Yeah, like Naoki Tate actually gets to show off a lot in that arc.
Yeah.
But oh my god, like everything is undersold. Everything looks awful. And then it has all the bad story points of Resurrection F, where Blue is underexplained, where it's introduced in the worst manner, where Frieza has that moment where he tortures Gohan in the arc, which does make him genuinely more detestable and a better villain than he was in the original movie. But I remember they do that sacrifice with Piccolo, which doesn't mean anything. It's like, oh, Piccolo died saving Gohan again. Why are we really are gonna like call back to his death in the Saiyan saga, and then he's gonna get wished back off screen but with a single line of dialogue to mention it? And then there's the whole Frieza blowing up the planet thing, and then whipping out his 3 minutes bullshit, which again gives us that unsatisfying bullshit ending where Vegeta gets robbed again, even though he definitely deserved to be the victor there. Like, I'm sorry, but God, in terms of just being an awful arc with awful ideas and awful execution, Jesus, I hate this arc. I absolutely hate it.
You're just saying that. You're just something that, like, you're probably just going to go home tonight now. You're just going to sit down, throw on some Resurrection F, and just, call it a night. Like, you're just going to have a nice time.
Put on your Frieza slippers.
That's a great way to put yourself to sleep. Just watch Resurrection F.
I'm too angry to sleep.
Fair.
I genuinely I rewatched through it actually when it was dubbed, thinking, okay, maybe this will make it better. And you know what? Getting to experience more Christopher Ayres as Frieza with some amazing lines, by the way. Like, I will say, damn, they gave him some great lines in that dub. But
I think all in all, I'm not gonna stand here and fight the battle for Resurrection F, which I think is very easily like the weakest in the entire franchise. So like, I think putting a dishonorable mention on this, pretty easy for me. I just want to point out that I just really like the training stuff.
Yeah, no, that stuff is good. Like, that's that, and just because there's good in the unfortunately, there is good in this arc, but the bad is my least favorite Dragon Ball stuff of all time, because it's not even original bad stuff. It's not even
secondhand bad
like
stuff,
good concepts done badly. It's just bad on bad on bad.
Nice. Yeah.
Oh. Okay. All right. Now that the knife's in the side of that bullshit, Universe 6 arc.
Yeah, introduction of Hit.
Yep. Hit's cool. Everybody likes Hit. Yeah.
Hit is awesome. Love Hit. Great.
Yep.
Rest of this arc, pretty all right. Pretty okay.
I like Hit. I like the teacher-student relationship of Vegeta and Kappa.
Yeah.
One of my favorite bits was Goku watching, I think his name is Frost, right?
Yeah.
And watching Frost transform into like the third form, and Goku's like, oh, I never saw this one. They can get bigger?
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah. I like that.
Honestly, having Goku finally experience Form 3, that was neat. I liked that.
Yeah.
I also think that their characterization for Frost sucks.
Yeah.
I was actually kind of happy to like, oh, good Frieza? That's way more interesting than what they ended up doing.
When all he was is just kind of like a slimy little underhanded cheater. That's about it.
Yeah, which, by the way, having like a cheater in the tournament was a cool idea. I like that. But like, they set up for good Frieza, and I was like, but no, that's actually neat. I like that idea.
Isn't this also the first time in Super that they just kind of sidelined Boo for no reason? Like, he couldn't fill out the paperwork, so it's like, fuck it.
Fell asleep,
Yep. Yep, because they realized that Boo can just win if, like,
he's infinite
it's
energy,
weird.
right?
Even though you scaled the power, like, even though the power scaling has gone beyond Boo at this point.
But that's because he's got these abilities that make him way too dangerous in a one-on-one fight.
Yeah,
that
it's
they
very
kind
durable.
of like bypass in the exhibition arc. It's like, okay, Candy Beam, no. Absorption, no. Okay.
I mean,
like
self-regeneration.
It's why he's not in the Tournament of Power. That, and like, I guess somebody at some point was like, oh, what if we got Frieza in there? And everyone was like, holy shit, you could do some stuff with that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah,
like,
but at that point, you could have easily replaced like Roshi or Tien, because Tien really did nothing to serve that arc.
Yep.
Piccolo didn't do much in this arc either. Piccolo just kind of showed up.
Look, you had to have Krill in there so you could have like Android 18 and him do a thing and then get him eliminated. Somebody on that team needed to be eliminated first, and if Krillin wasn't there, who else was it gonna be?
This is very true. I don't know what I expected.
Yeah. Look, I'm okay with Krillin being the one getting eliminated first because that's sort of in line with his whole character. He gets a really cool moment. Like, he gets a time to shine with his wife.
Yeah.
So that's cool. I'm like, okay, cool. You gave him a really good moment before you knocked him out. I'm all right with this.
Yeah.
And hell, even Roshi. Okay, so it sucks. Roshi gets both a really good scene and a really awful scene in that arc.
The worst scene. But yeah, we're not talking about this tournament. We're talking about tournament
Universe
with
6.
Universe 6, which...
Both... Yeah,
I'll say this. One of the reasons it didn't even really make my list, my personal top 12 list, a lot of it outside of Goku versus Hit and Vegeta versus Hit, completely forgettable.
It has very lasting
I'd
effect
probably
on...
extend it further to like, I think everything for me after, like, from Vegeta's fight with Kaba and everything after that is good. Everything before that, extremely forgettable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we talked a little bit about how you make a good tournament arc. And I think there needs to be an overarching, like, these very personal stories. With the 21st Tenkaichi Budokai, you had Goku and Jackie Chun and Krillin and that whole dynamic of him wanting to keep them humble. In the 22nd Tenkaichi Budokai, you had the overarching plot of Tenshinhan and basically the, like, Roshi giving up the mantle and like moving on, like, okay, now it's time to let my students inherit like the school or like let them they've surpassed me, I can move on now. And then the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai, you had everything to do with Piccolo Jr. and everything that came with that.
Yeah, but here you kind of like they forego even like the tournament structure where it's just like, it's just going to be kind of a gauntlet match. As soon as somebody loses, they like will move on to the next guy, which is fine as a tournament goes. But when, like, one of the reasons the Dark Tournament is probably one of the best, if not the best tournaments in all of anime, is because you get this sense of scale and you get this sense of growth throughout it. And obviously they weren't going to dedicate that amount of time to this, but you don't get a sense for how strong Hit is until he just absolutely jobs Vegeta with no issue.
Yeah, true.
I love Hit.
It's great.
Yeah,
Hit is my favorite addition added by Super, seeing as Whis and Beerus were added in a Z movie.
Well, that's fair. I kind of have to agree. I like Hit in general just because he's actually set up as a character that I would hate because I'm the serious guy. But he's got just enough going for him in terms of his personality. Like, the relationship he has with Goku is fun. I like it.
The fact that Goku, like, pays to have himself get killed is fucking great and very Goku.
Side point, that stuff's actually good. I like that stuff. When I finally realized that Goku was the one that put out a hit on himself, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. That's great. That's amazing.
Idea. Yeah, I really like that one. I think as well with Hit, like, I think he's just like, he like, something that I thought was at least the case in GT was that whenever they created a villain or an antagonist for Goku to fight against, it was always very much the situation where it felt like it was very derivative and that everything felt kind of samey. There was nothing that really kind of helped the different antagonists that were brought out to kind of feel unique. But when Hit came about and his time manipulation techniques and how Goku had to try to kind of figure out a way to kind of like solve that puzzle, I thought that was like really interesting, and it really kind of like did a lot to solve that character's identity within the entire series. I mean, like, he's not even in Super that much, but everyone remembers Hit because of those powers, you know?
Something that kind of... Sorry. I was going to say, something that kind of cheapens that ability, though, just a little bit, or like how they end up dealing with it is Goku just powers through it somehow.
Yeah.
It's still unexplained. It's like, okay, if I just pump my power up high enough, he can't stop time, I guess.
Well, I think the idea is that, like, he's so much stronger that the time differentiation, it just doesn't matter anymore. Like,
I think it's like explained more in the manga. I think it actually is.
There's a lot that goes into it there.
Yeah,
then
it's actually.
Like
I think the mechanic even works differently in the manga.
Yeah, you have him trap Jiren in a time bubble in like the Tournament of Power, but it's like at that point Jiren is way stronger than Goku, Blue, Kaioken, whatever. Like, how? Like, I guess Hit also got stronger, but then it ultimately doesn't work. But I don't know. His powers are kind of inconsistent, although very cool because I love time manipulation powers.
Yeah, it's basically just King Crimson from JoJo,
or Adam Sandler from Click.
Yeah, there you go. That's one I can relate to. King Crimson's power is like way more confusing than what Hit does, because King Crimson reverses time.
Wait, King Crimson doesn't reverse time?
It allows him to see what is going to happen. Doesn't it?
We're not doing this.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh. Well, actually, no. I guess it's a little bit more like Dio's.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's basically he stores up time and then he can like move within the frozen time for just like, and then he keeps adding time to it. But then Goku's like, yeah, but I'm so strong. Like, even if like when I throw my punch, like whatever, I don't care. It's whatever.
Either way, this gets an honorable mention from me just for introducing Hit.
It gets an honorable mention from me too. I just think it's sort of meh. It's meh.
Yeah, I think of all the honorable mentions so far. I think of all the honorable mentions so far. For me, it's probably it's like very middle. It's very middle. So it's like, yeah.
But you wouldn't give it a dishonorable mention.
No, I wouldn't.
It's
that's
like
true.
just above that gray area.
Exactly. Yeah. It's I'm definitive enough in saying that it's an honorable mention.
The Botamo stuff, meh. The Frost stuff, meh. The fucking Magetta stuff, meh. But then you have Kaba and Hit, and they're both good. So it's like, well, 2 out of 5 ain't the worst. And thus, that stuff was good enough that it's like, I'm glad I watched the arc. I could probably watch through it again and still enjoy myself. I might skip some stuff, but at least I could say, like, hey, I'll skip some stuff, but I'll still have a good time. Unlike with the fucking Resurrection F arc.
it has that weird penguin singing the national anthem of the universe, which was funny. So,
Oh yeah.
Oh, we
and
also
get to meet
this
the
is also
fucking-
where we get to see the Super Dragon Balls and Super Shenron, because those were a thing.
oh yeah, and all his clip art glory is fantastic.
Oh my god.
I still don't know how to feel about that being introduced as a concept.
Okay, it means
I feel
nothing.
like it cheapens a lot of things.
It means nothing. I will say the idea though that it introduces that the Namekians actually like, oh yeah,
Learned it
basically
from the gods.
Yeah, I'm like, oh cool, that's actually cool world building there. I'm okay with that. I'm way okay with them like building on lore like that. Because then it's like,
So-
that explains how that happens and doesn't conflict with anything in particular.
That does well, it conflicts with one thing. Why were they called the Super Dragon Balls if
fuck.
Dragon Balls didn't already
shut
exist?
the fuck up. I'd like to think that they're not actually called the Super Dragon Balls. Like, I'd like to think that Dragon Balls wasn't even the name of them to begin with. In fact, I think they weren't. I think there's actually a name for them that's
But
not
they
beyond
summon
that.
a dragon.
I mean, they do summon a dragon.
And they are balls.
But I don't think they were called the Dragon Balls. I think they were called something else. But because the common ones are the small ones, those are just called the super ones. It's silly, but whatever.
So wait, hold on. The Earth ones would be the Dragon Balls. Then the Namekians ones would be the Super Dragon Balls. These would be Super Dragon Balls too.
Super duper Dragon Balls.
Super duper
Super D
balls.
duper Dragon Ball.
Yep.
Maximum
Super D-duper
over
balls.
balls. Moving
So-
on to Super Filler, because
Real quick.
Oh,
I like
okay.
the Barry Con stuff specifically because I like Vidal's response to Barry Con showing up with the pictures made my heart explode. You guys don't understand.
Oh,
Her
I
being
totally
like,
get it. I totally
the
get
fuck
it.
out of my house. But your husband, it's a good man, and there's an explanation for this. You're just an asshole. I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, stand by your man.
I
was like-
did like that. That
Yeah,
was
I love
very
that,
good
man.
character work.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was always a fan of the Saiyaman stuff because I really loved the idea of Gohan being a hero where the hero stuff was a byproduct of what he really wanted to do, where I love the idea that Gohan's like, I want to be the good guy. I want to be the hero with all the stuff that comes with it and the dumb poses and the costume. And I'm like, yes, make this Gohan's character for the rest of the series. I want to see superhero Gohan. That's what I want.
Yeah, he doesn't need to be the pro tag. He just has to be a hero.
And if it was going to be a pro tag, hey, that makes him different from Goku, where he's all about justice. Please, make Superman the actual hero of Dragon Ball. I would love to see what happens there.
But you already have Jiren.
That is
yeah,
a low blow.
Yeah, I liked Barry Con, the Barry Con arc specifically just for that scene. I'm like, okay, that makes
How
all
long
of it
is
worth
it?
it.
Is it like 2 episodes?
Yep.
Yeah,
I
it was short, to the point, and it like had some fun character stuff. I like the idea that they are making a Mr. Satan movie, like Mr. Satan and Great Saiyaman save the day kind of thing.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
I think the only weird thing in it that I can think of is I didn't like Barry, like the alien Barry Con design.
Yeah,
oh yeah, that sucked.
like it devolves very quickly when they actually need conflict.
Yeah, although I love the last moment where he wins and then Videl and Pawn are watching him and she's like, yep, that's my husband.
That's
Like,
cute,
I'm
That's
sorry.
daddy.
I love, because here's the thing, I still think Videl should never have stopped fighting. I'm flat out like, damn you for fucking doing this to Videl. She should absolutely have like started to learn how to fight. But if we're gonna have her be the supportive character to Gohan, I really dug on what they did here. I love supportive, loving relationship, like, because they're kind of, I feel like they're the most healthy, positive relationship in the series, where even like fucking 18 and Krillin, she teases him a lot. But I don't know. I like them. I love them. They're a cute couple, and them being able to just be a cute couple on screen, I'm about it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, like, there's not really much to the arc, to be honest. Like, and I
Nope.
think everything that you mentioned, like, pretty much get on board with. I don't remember that much about it. I definitely remember that moment where Videl was faced with all that quote-unquote evidence, and she just threw it in Barry Con's face, and I was like, yeah, girl, you know your man, you stand by him. I was like, yeah, I love that part. So I think that's enough for me to give it an honorable mention.
Yeah. And then there's Jelly Vegeta. Look, there's only one reason to mention Jelly Vegeta.
I give this an honorable mention simply for what the dub did.
Yep.
And
yep.
that is
oh my God, yes, Brian Drummond.
I'm sorry, but like, I love Sabbath's Vegeta. I think it has actually gotten so, like, it started off rocky. It is now very good. Like, I love him as Vegeta, but having Brian come back just for those couple of episodes gave me goose pimples everywhere. I was like, God damn, man.
When he was just screaming the Gallic gun, it was so good.
All right.
Oh, so good. Like, I actually got full on hyped for that when it was advertised. I was like, oh my God, are you serious? This is a great idea.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
I remember talking to Sabbath about it before, like you know, when the sub was out there. I'm like, are you like? He's like, yeah.
Sorry, just think of the Seth Rogen laugh now.
Sabbath's an amazing troll. I love him.
Oh yeah, he's a total troll.
But yeah, that's everything else about this. Just kind of okay, that happened. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's nothing else to mention about it. I didn't
even realize that this was filler, but the hit rematch was filler.
Yeah, I mean, technically yes.
It doesn't. That was better than the Universe 6 arc.
There's very little to say about it. I will say him shooting the blast up in the air and coming back down to restart his heart was a little much. A little like, okay, buddy.
It's a little funny, but I could totally see that being a tactic he'd use if he knew he was about to get taken out.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I need a shock to bring me back up, and him standing up being like, hey, I wasn't down for the 10 count, doesn't count.
Yeah.
It's like, you fucking failed.
You come back here and give me my money's worth.
Isn't there also like a callback to the very first episode of Dragon Ball where he gets hit by a car while holding a fish?
I don't remember that.
Maybe.
I think there is. I think it's like towards the start of the first episode of the two.
I don't know. I love that fight. I love their rematch and how, like, you know, yeah, they're evenly matched now, because I think they knew going into it they're never going to have their rematch at the Tournament of Power because we need Jiren to be the wall at the very end here now. So
yeah, true.
By the way, one of my favorite lines in all of Dragon Ball Super, Jiren looking down at Hit, Universe 6's Hit. What are you doing? My job. Oh,
that's so
sick.
good. Yeah, it's so good. Like, I think the best part about that whole mini arc with Hit Goku, their rematch, I think it's the underlying mystery of who, like, you know, like paid for Hit to like attack Goku, and it just turns out it's Goku.
Yeah. It's like, it makes so much sense. And it's like, it's great. Because you're thinking that entire time. It's like, okay, so they know this tournament's coming. Who would have done it? I mean, maybe Champa, because, you know, he could be that kind of underhanded dude. It could be anybody, really.
Maybe it was Frost. When you find I thought it might be Frost.
It could have been Frost, but then you get to the end of it, it's like, nah, Goku did it just because he wanted to fight. It's like, God damn it.
Yeah, it's perfect. Good. Like, and the thing is, like, I think it's perfect because it was a 2-episode deal. If it was longer, people would have found out and it would have been boring. But like, I think it was the perfect solution to a mystery for the perfect amount of episodes. It's short, to the point, it works.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I also wanted to bring it up because, Nick, I knew you liked it.
It's one of my favorite fights. Like, I love the idea of Goku having to learn and adapt as he's going to fight, like, because Hit has such a unique moveset that it actually involves strategy to learn how to fight him. It's not like Jiren where it's just like, okay, I'm just gonna keep going until something breaks through. It's literally, I have to learn how to adapt to somebody who can punch through time.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I think that's fascinating, and I loved it.
So I feel like we actually, like, while we had some negative stuff to talk about here, I feel like more things made honorable than dishonorable.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think we had 4 dishonorable.
Yeah, we had 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, and one of them just yeah, like fucking Battle of Gods was only dishonorable because it was a worse version of something that already existed. On its own, again, it wasn't bad.
Just watch the movie instead.
Yeah, just watch the movie instead, honestly.
Yeah, that's Dragon Ball. And if we missed any of your favorites or least favorites,
I'm sorry.
It's
if
probably
we missed
because
your
we forgot.
favorite, if we missed your favorite, I gotta meet you. I gotta know who the fuck you are.
I gotta
Dragon
know
Ball
that
Evolution
person. That's like, man. I don't even like. I can't even imagine what arc it would be at that point.
I know, right?
Because we
Dragon Ball
missed it.
Evolution.
Yes, Dragon Ball Evolution.
Oh, I'm really glad that we've been able to talk in depth about Broly. Like, oh man, the fucking review we did has over 1 million views. Because that was, I think that's the last thing we haven't talked about in terms of this DBcember. Super Broly good. Super Broly very good.
Super Broly very good.
And
Yep,
are we
that's it.
excited for the new
Cool.
movie?
If they bring back the anime, I almost wonder if they'll ever make him canon because he hasn't shown up in the manga. But
Nope.
There's also, there is also Superhero, which, okay.
Gohan's in it.
Apparently Gohan might be the main character. He's at the center of the latest poster that was released. So if that is the case, if Gohan is the main character of Superhero, I finally got what I wanted in a movie with an animation style I'm not on board with yet. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a wrap on this year's DBcember. Other than
guess
number
it
1
is.
going out, that's about it.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us for, well, the last DBcember. Gosh. I'm glad that this is going to go up before the final episode, because I feel like there was, again, we were very critical in this one, and DBcember is always supposed to be a celebration of Dragon Ball, but there is a reason that we cut it down from 24 to 12. Those bottom 12 are always going to be kind of like a lot of negativity.
We realized that issue when we did the top 24 games, and it's like, man, we're just shitting on the bottom 12.
Yeah, and it's not fun. Like, honestly, a lot of people like, oh yeah, tear this thing apart. But that much negativity really just kind of kills you. It hurts. It's like, ooh, I don't like doing this for this long.
Yeah, but before we go, Mark, thank you once again for joining us for this year's DBcember. Is there anything that you'd like to say to the people at home?
As I've said numerous times, I have been an enormous fan of you guys for an exceptionally long amount of time, and continue to be massive fans of what you do. Always been. I've watched earnestly every DBcember, and it is, and will remain, a tremendous honor that you guys asked me. So thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, dude.
You know, I am so glad that you came on for all of this. It's been wonderful. You've been a fantastic guest. You've been super duper positive, especially when I'm like, hey, Mark, can you do a reread for this? Can you do this for me? Hey, we got these things that we need to record. Can you make time? You've been awesome.
No, I mean,
especially considering events.
Yes.
Well, look, I mean, we're defined by how we respond in our darkest moments. That's kind of a mantra. So.
That's true. Well, thank you. Thank you again so much, and thank you all at home. We hope you have enjoyed this DBcember, and we don't know what comes next, but hopefully it'll be fun and everyone will have a good time.
I definitely.
It's
will.
always
I'll be
preferable.
Yeah.
All right.
Happy New Year, everybody!
Happy fucking New Year, everybody,
Happy New
and
Year,
Merry
happy
Christmas,
holidays.
because this will come out before Christmas. So Merry Christmas and a happy motherfucking New Year.
Happy Hanukkah, happy Christmas, happy everything.
Happy holidays.